Okay, so during today's call, I'll be talking to the two commercial directors of a food and beverages company located in Spain. So each director has his own business unit, which is food and beverages. Normally, I would show Heineken as well as Red Bull. Heineken because it is trade marketing, so it's basically relating to increasing demand at the wholesaler distributor level rather than the actual consumer level. And I would also show Red Bull because I think it's a great usage of our platform in an actual consumer level background. But for the sake of the exercise, I've been attributed to DBS and Heineken. So continuing on our discussion, I will now select a customer, which I've actually pre-selected. So please remember, like I mentioned previously, that it really functions like the black box of an airline, whereby everything is being recorded, be it the pages, the time spent on each page, the videos, and the topics that are related to what that person is presenting. So what's interesting about DBS is the challenge. So the client needed an app that could discuss the benefits of retirement planning and provide as well a profiler that can help the rep advise consumers and basically helps them plan their own retirement. So it's quite well constructed because it actually opens with some discussions on the importance of retirement planning. But before that, it actually starts off with a Your Information section, which is basically a slide that you can complete in a series of profiling surveys. So if I click here, you can clearly see that the rep can, with the help of the consumer, fill in all the information, food, holidays, travel abroad, and so on. And basically what it's doing here is collecting the information that is going to be relevant to deliver them a segmented message. So here really are grasping an understanding of what are their needs and how you can respond to those needs. And I think that's quite crucial in your industry, whereby it's important to gauge the needs of your distributors and wholesalers in order to adapt your message. And this is exactly what is done here. So then when I follow on, you can see that there's clearly a discussion about the importance of retirement planning, and what they're trying to do is convey the importance of planning in advance. So here you can clearly see that they talk about if CPF alone, which is basically a government retirement fund, can support you. And one thing that you can notice here at the bottom is the very good usage of support material. So here it is a CPI ranking sheet, but it just shows you how easy it is for reps and the people actually presenting this to have information just one touch away that can help them support and basically create an atmosphere of confidence and trustworthiness that would be a lot harder to achieve as a paper version. In addition to that, I'd like to attract your attention to the top corner. If you see here, there's a very sleek and discreet survey whereby you're basically asking the rep to gather a moral assumption of the reaction of the client. So in this case, if I think the consumer didn't really agree with the message that was conveyed, I would note it as red. If on the contrary, I think that the message was well accepted and understood and it was effective, I would note it as green. So it's really important because it enables you to understand on what points you need to emphasize delivery of the message and what points seem to be conferred very clearly. This really helps you put in place a closed loop marketing cycle which is virtuous, enables you to then make learning and development improvements or content improvements. So I then continue onwards. You can see that they are once again really trying to convey the importance of having a retirement fund and planning for retirement. And one way they've done this is through a financial calculator. So this one is actually the net worth calculator. You can simply type in, for example, the cash and say, for example, the mortgage that a person has, and it basically gives you your net worth. The one thing that's interesting here is you can see that the message clearly changes. In this case, it says that you have more liabilities than assets, and it gives you a quick kind of tip. And if I would change that and put it down to 39, you'll see that the message once again changes, and it's actually adapted, targeted to that person's situation. So in this case, you can see that the answer would be you have more assets and liabilities, and if you keep it that way by continuing to make your money grow, and of course introducing the help from DBS, speak to an advisor about how you can help build your wealth. So this is very useful in terms of grasping and understanding of your clients. So everything is going to be recorded and associated to that specific client, which is quite important in your case to understand on the distributor and wholesaler level what are their needs, what are their kind of infrastructure, and how you can help respond to those needs and ultimately increase your sales. So here there's something that's very similar, which is a retirement calculator, which allows you to enter information into free-form text fields that calculate how much money you'll need when you're retired to live comfortably. So this really does convey the importance of having an investment plan and planning in advance. And one thing I'd like to show you as well is how easy it is to actually navigate. So here we have a resource library which contains all of the support documentation required during a call. So clearly you can see that if that person wants to have the inflation statistics, you can very rapidly, with only a few touches, bring that information out and convey the appropriate information, details. So now what I'd like to show you is an app that was made for Heineken in Japan. So this one is a lot closer to what you're actually looking for, in terms of the client actually needed a series of tailored apps that each were designed for a different type of restaurant or bar. So exactly what you were looking for in this current situation. So they needed to be specific to the size of the establishment and the beverages that they offer to their customers. So this targeted app really enabled them to display the specific promotions for qualifying prospects and customers. So it also contains a profiling tool, very much like the one that I showed you in DBS, that enables the reps to gather competitive intelligence regarding each customer, so that marketing can implement new programs designed to grow the market share. So you can see here it's clearly divided very well into different sections with a very seamless integration of the interface skin. And say for example here, you're basically simply conveying the market share. So you start off the conversation by educating and informing your audience. The next step is then actually delivering them your product offerings. So in the case of Heineken, it would be the bottle, the can, the extra cold, and the draft with all the relevant information needed. The next section is called the goods. This is really targeted towards the wholesalers and distributors, in this case the restaurants, because it basically enables those restaurants to make an order of materials that will help you increase your sales. So if I take an example here, if we go into the look section, there's actually an order book to get the relevant clothing. So in this case, if I would like to select a product, I can very easily order, like one here, and continue the discussion. So this is exactly what you needed, coming back to delivering materials that are going to help your presence inside the stores of your distributors. So I think this is going to be very relevant for you in the app you will be making. The next one is the Star Lounge, which is basically an event that they're organizing, and they've also tied it into more general events and national events that they've all listed here. So it's also informing the distributor, the wholesaler, of other events that they could attend or recommend to their patrons. Last but not least is the shop section. So it just gives you basically a map of the different shops that are distributing the Heineken goods. And I'd like to attract your attention on this last section here, which is, I think, very appropriate and really does help spark a conversation, or I should say break the ice. It's basically a collection of multiple ads that Heineken have made, and it's very easy to simply select one and show it. And I've seen this in person, whereby the video really does help with the conversation. So it's something that's a bit more relaxing, a bit more entertaining, and it really does help the conversation spark into different areas that weren't necessarily covered previously. And it's very easy to navigate back. So in addition to that, they've also included a resource library, which enables you to rapidly navigate to any section you think is relevant during the call. You also have here a few functionalities I haven't shown yet. One of them is actually uploading a customer, and more so changing the customer. So it's very easy for you to basically select a new customer and change that appropriately. So these are two very good examples of apps that have helped our clients achieve their challenges. And that's why today I'm really here to understand what are your challenges and how I can help you meet them and even exceed them with the multiple functionalities and features that we offer.